Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel. This podcast is dedicated to all the other sacred rebels out there, sacred women, and all of the above that are in need of a guiding light in their waking life and spirituality. This podcast will feature talks on spirituality, being a woman, traumas, self-development, meditations, as well as self-healing and all of the above. It is with love and compassion that I gift this podcast to the rest of the world, as it was never presented to me growing up. And it is my hope that this podcast will be the seed that is planted in someone else to basically be motivated to create a change within themselves that can be the change for the rest of the world. So kick back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy. Much love. Hello, wonderful people. My name is Jessica, aka the Sacred Rebel, and I am back with another video. And before I get into this episode, I want to state again, I have started a GoFundMe to help out with starting this podcast out in a decent way. And I am trying to raise $500, and with that $500, that will cover the cost for different equipment. And the equipment includes a mic, headphones, camera mount with ring light, and other miscellaneous equipment and programs that will help out with video editing, any software, that type of stuff. Now, any donation is very, very, very appreciated. And if you can't donate, please share. Also, please like and subscribe to my videos as well as share them, because with your support, I can actually get this podcast up and running, and I eventually want to put this on Spotify or Apple, who knows. But other than that, I'll have the GoFundMe link below with any other details that need to be known. And without further ado, let's get into this episode. So, I basically originally I wanted to talk about how to connect more with your femininity. And I know earlier I shared on Instagram a post where I gave different tips on how to connect with your femininity, especially if you identify as a woman. And then I actually thought of something better to talk about. It is the whole social media aspect of things. Now, how do I put this? A lot of us are very, very addicted to social media. And I mean addicted to the point where we're losing parts of ourselves, because every time that phone dings, we pick it up. When it lights up, we gotta check it out. Wake up in the morning, Facebook. Midday, Facebook. Afternoon, Facebook, Instagram, maybe. We have so many social media accounts on our phone. We have so many apps on our phone connecting to social media. Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and probably even more different applications on the phone. Our phone is always within arm's reach. There are less people that are able to keep their phone out of their hands for more than 10 minutes than a whole day. Whenever people go on dates, what are they doing? On their phones. Why is it that we are constantly on our phones? We are constantly just tuned in. We see other people's lives, but wouldn't it be easier to just simply call that person up or sit in front of them and talk to them to see what their update in their lives are? And it made me think, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I will admit I have become a little addicted with social media too. I know for the last couple of weeks I've been not really on it too much, but I've been on it quite enough. And I would say, oh, it's for my business. I gotta post this for my business. But why can't I just schedule most of these posts throughout the week? Why not take an hour or two out of a day to pre-schedule some stuff where it will free up more of my time where I can focus on other things? Why is that? Why is it like an inconvenience to put down my phone? And I was having a conversation earlier with my boyfriend, and he was telling me about a dream that he had, and I told him, I know I had a dream, but I couldn't remember it. And the reason why was, soon as my alarm woke me up, I had to check on, let's see what's going on Facebook. Let's see what's going on Instagram. And normally the first few moments when you wake up are precious moments to really get whatever happened overnight in here onto paper or a notepad or on your phone notepad. But I didn't do it. And then I completely forgot my dream. I can't even recall it. And I've been having a hard time trying to recall my dreams for the last few weeks, going into like months now. I've been having a hard time trying to lucid dream as well. And it's because I have like trained my eyes on the shiny things that are happening on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. And that's what society, that's what like these big companies want you to do. They want you to be a bit more disconnected with yourself and more tuned into like what's going on. Oh, you want to meditate? Well, hey, guess what? Let's show you this cool thing on TikTok. Let's show you this cool thing, the short form content where you have a minute. And that's how they trick you too. These short form content videos, not saying all of them are terrible. There are some like good wholesome videos out there. And that's why I love Instagram and like TikTok. But at the same time, there is just junk out there that will have you scrolling for hours. And I caught myself doing that. And I said to myself, wow, I am missing out on a lot. And you can argue and say that, well, you're not missing out. You're not missing out on anything. I mean, you see what everybody is doing right there on social media. So how are you missing on things? You are still missing on things. You're missing out on like an actual genuine connection. You're missing out on like having like a one-on-one. You're missing out on being connected with your environment. Instead, you're connecting with your phone. You're connecting with your screen. And it does, I know for myself, it does remove me from who I want to be and how I want to live my life. It definitely dulls my concentration. If I'm not creating something, I fall into this weird, soupy mental state where I will sit and binge on TikTok. I will sit and binge on Instagram, and it's been a little disruptive between like my actual work and my creative work. It's been a little bit destructive. I meant to say disruptive, but I slipped and said destructive, and yes, it is destructive too. It's not super destructive to the point where like I'm fucking up or anything like that, but I've definitely noticed that we are disconnected. And I grew up in the 90s, so I remember the time where we had to actually do things. Someone sent me a video and I thought it was funny where this comedian makes a joke about mindfulness. We were already doing mindfulness before we had our cell phones. And that means that we were actually just calling people. We're actually walking to a person's house. We actually didn't have to sit right there and stare at our phones watching videos while sitting on the bus. We looked at the condensation on the window, and I'm listening to this comedian and I'm like, oh damn, he's right. Because there's been many times where I'll be sitting right there staring at the drips and the drops going down the window. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like that is like some top tier mindfulness. Like it was the 90s growing up. I was pretty present. I was pretty present with what was going on in my surroundings. And I'm glad that I grew up in the 90s, because if I didn't, it would be very hard for me to catch myself when I notice that I'm actually turning my brains into mush from ingesting all of this content, especially like before bed. Before bed, I'll be on my phone before bed. I'll admit there is one thing that usually helps me go to sleep, is this like little like kitchen food game that I like to engage into, but maybe I could switch that with reading. I'm not saying that all social media like consumption is bad, but we have to like really keep an eye on how much we are consuming, because we're doing more consuming than doing. And if we're not doing anything, we start to become more and more lethargic. And the longer that we are lethargic, the longer it's going to take for us to break the habit of just putting the freaking phone down. Just put it down. And instead of just like living life, we are living life vicariously through other people. I will admit, I used to like follow these different idols on YouTube, and while it was great watching their content being produced, it was also hindering me a little bit because I'm living vicariously through them. I'm like, oh my God, look at them go. They got it. They can do it. And then I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. Like the same things that the goals that they were achieving were the same goals that I wanted to achieve. And I wasn't doing it. I was just, oh, someone else got it. Now I feel like I'm doing it. But deep down, I'm like, your heart is breaking, sis, because you want to have fun too. And you think that you can't have fun because of whatever you are feeling in the moment. And yeah, I've lost sight of a lot of goals when it came to like being on social media. That's why I appreciate the 90s so much more, because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I had a Nokia. Maybe I had a little Nokia at one point in time, but it was like the brick phone. The only thing you could play on it was Snake. But I remember those times where, you actually gave a damn and made an extra effort to go see someone, or you had pen pals. You actually went outside and did something. You actually like used your imagination. And in social media, while it can fuel our imagination, at the same time, it can like warp it into something weird. And that's why, like, when people smoke the Mary Jane, that's when if they smoke long enough, it does block you from having dreams. It does like keep the hormones that excrete during your sleep, the DMT, it does keep your mind from having dreams because Mary Jane is like, depending on what you get, it's a very relaxing. And when people do stop, they wonder why they have all these crazy dreams, like everything is flooding. It's because you just release the floodgates and your DMT is filling your goddamn mind up with all these nice prophetic dreams that you need to be writing down. Get a pen and paper. But I think for myself, I'm going to make it a point for the next week or so to lessen my social media consumption. Lessen it. If I'm not watching or listening to a wholesome like podcast or content, I don't want it. Not to say that I'm going to completely be on the straight and narrow. There's going to be some times where I want to see something funny, but I'm going to make sure that it doesn't consume the time where I need to be responsible to do something. I know for a fact that as soon as I wake up, I'm not even going to bother checking my emails. I'm not going to bother opening up on Facebook to see what's going on. I'm just going to, if I had a dream, I'm just going to go straight into writing that dream out in my notepad. And I'm going to basically do something for myself in the morning, whether it's like a meditation or journaling, something that to get me started throughout my day. Because when I don't start my day off right, I tend to get frazzled and it does not look good when I'm like fried. And you should not wake up feeling like fried, like your day is like done. And I'm going to make sure that my nighttime routine is better too. Because if I improve my nighttime routine, maybe I'll start reading some like books, or I like looking at webcomics. That's my little guilty pleasure. I like looking at webcomics, so maybe I'll do like some reading content instead of just like binging stuff on Facebook, because honestly, ain't nothing happening on Facebook with drama, and I don't even want to be a part of that drama. I'll admit, sometimes I like to be in the shadows with a teapot and be like, let me pour some tea, I'll listen, but I don't want to partake in it. But yeah, social media definitely is like disconnecting us from ourselves and each other. And it's time to be present, especially if we want to start achieving things. The best way to start achieving things is to detox yourself from most of these apps. Because why do you need to be on? Actually, you just remind me, I need to delete my Snapchat. I barely use my Snapchat. I don't even know why I re-downloaded it on my phone again. I barely use that. I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram. I need to just delete the Snapchat because it's unnecessary. It's just taking up space on my phone. But that is that for this video. Hopefully this will give you like some inspiration to lessen your time on social media and pour more time into yourself. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.